And welcome to something of a do-it-yourself edition of Ben's Junk. Getting really insular around here. Anyway, a few weeks ago, I did a regular archive episode on more novel methods of distributing computer software, mostly from the 70s and 80s. And that episode prompted me to dust off the old Commodore 64 and Datasette peripheral. And I mentioned in that episode that I found the dataset to be a bit unreliable, to the point where I had to abandon the original would-be dataset segment in my first Commodore 64 episode a couple of years ago. But during the making of that original episode, I found myself wishing that I could simply swap out the dataset with a Discman or MP3 player or something. But I had a lot on my plate at the time, and a family member passed away just after I finished the episode, and bottom line, I never did get around to looking for an alternative to the dataset. But when making that more recent episode, the software episode, I finally got around to looking, and I found a guy in Spain via good old Fleabay that was selling these homemade kits that would allow you to plug any 1/8-inch headphone-equipped audio device into your Commodore. And for another $2 or $3 or something, you could get the adapter pre-assembled, which is what I did because I'm lazy. But anyway, this is it, the MP3 to C64 adapter, and I couldn't tell you much about this technically speaking. We've got, of course, the computer plug here, and it's all attached to this little PCB board, and we've got this little two-tone LED at the tip of my thumb here, and what I believe to be a small ROM chip, and of course the actual jack. So in the Fleabay listing, which these are still available, so I'll link to that in the video description, the seller had his adapter in this cute little plastic case that resembled a dataset with a little hole cut out for the LED and stuff. And I asked the seller, after I got this and tested it, where/if I could purchase one of those cases, and I was informed that I could not. However, he linked me to a blueprint for a generic case, which could be made via a 3D printer. And it took me quite a while to find access to a working/publicly available printer, but I did finally get a case made. And there's no nothing special about it, no design to it. But it was the best I could do. And given that there was no hole for the light or anything, I wound up just intentionally using the lightest and lightest color material available. But also the hole for the headphone jack was a little small. And so I wound up sitting around one evening with a 1/4-inch drill bit and just manually grinding away at it while watching TV until everything finally fit together. And if I can actually get it in the case, there we go. But as you can see, I did finally get it. But then after that, it was a quick trip to the hardware store for a couple of machine screws to hold it all together. But anyway, before we get to the demo here, I should note that, in a way, this is no more reliable than an actual old data set, in that it's only as good as the audio files that you pump into it. So if the file came from a dodgy, worn, bad cassette that was recorded on a deck with misaligned heads and all, you're not going to fare any better than with an actual data set. But with all that in mind, let's hook it up anyway and see it in action, and barring anything catastrophic, I'll talk to you again later.